Hey everybody, it's Chairidee Smith. It's Miss Mogul, and it's now time to master your morning. I am so excited about the new wealth and finance series that we have begun. We are using the book Five Lessons a Millionaire Taught Me by Richard Paul Evans. And I know you're probably seeing all of the lettering and everything backwards, but this is the cover of the book. Hopefully, by now, you have purchased the book, and we'll be using it as a foundation as we move through this series. The series will be approximately 4 weeks. Every Monday, I'll post a new lesson, and hopefully, you're following along. I'm going to invite you to engage and post all of your comments, your aha moments in our group, in the Master Your Morning with Ms. Mogul group. And I want to hear from you because we're going to expand this. I'll have other leaders coming in to chime in about financial strategies for today's economy, how women particularly can recover if you have had any kind of catastrophe to happen. And I'm speaking in lines of either loss of a spouse or divorce. You need to know how to recover, and recovery is absolutely possible. If you're an empty nester and you're now looking to expand your retirement portfolio, there are opportunities for you to do that, and we want to help you do that. So, it all starts with information. You can't walk into any of this blindly. So, we're going to use this book as the foundation. Again, Five Lessons a Millionaire Taught Me by Richard Paul Evans. And we're going to see some growth happen in the area of finances and wealth. So, today's lesson is decide to be wealthy. Now, people may say, oh, that's an easy task. It absolutely is not an easy task. We have to decide, meaning it's a paradigm shift. Wealth is not just something that just kind of arbitrarily happens. It's a decision, and it's a decision that's accompanied with methodical, informed, strategic movement. Okay? Doesn't just hatch out of an egg. You have to have methodical, strategic, informed movement in order to acquire and really attain wealth. So, in lesson one, the author is talking about decide to be wealthy. Now, lesson one is primarily comprised of pages 13 through 24. And when I was reading the book, here are some of the thoughts that came to mind. Being wealthy begins with a decision. We've already stated that. But here it is, it's a commitment to change, it's a commitment to continuing education, it's a commitment to delayed gratification. It's a commitment to spending discipline. It's a commitment to investment strategies. It's a commitment to the future. So, being wealthy encompasses all of those commitments. Now, being wealthy is a decision. So I want you, this is where I'm going to plug in those do the work assignments that we have always kind of accompanied with everything that goes with Master Your Morning. Do the assignment. Schedule a family meeting without television, mobile devices, or distractions. Ask your family to talk openly and candidly about being wealthy. We assume everyone is on board with the new change. Truth is, we may be fearful of this life change. You can't successfully move forward with the family if the family is not unanimously supportive of the pursuit of this life change. Meaning, if you have a house full of teenagers, they need to be on board with the new wealth strategy. If you have toddlers, they need to be on board. Explain what wealth means to this family in our particular dynamic. What does it mean? We take for granted sometimes that everybody, yeah, we all want to be wealthy. But what does that really mean? It means it's going to be a change in how we approach budgeting as a family. It's a change in how we approach investing as a family. There's a change in how we approach savings as a family. So there will be some delayed gratification there. And the family needs to be on board with that decision unanimously, or else it will sabotage your success. You just can't have one spouse, a husband or a wife, and not the other on board. You can't have the husband and wife team on board, but the children are not engaged. Wealth is a family affair. And so you have to bring everyone to the table to really see what their paradigms and what their thoughts are. And once we have everyone committed to this life change, success is inevitable. Now, like muscles and a healthy immune system, we must feed our wealth mentality. Here are some of the things, some of the scriptures that I use to feed my wealth mentality. First is Deuteronomy 8 and 18. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So he confirms his covenant and he swears it to your ancestors as it is this day. I'll go back and read that one more time. Deuteronomy 8 and 18. But remember, it's the Lord your God, and it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Why do we produce wealth? So he can confirm his covenant with your ancestors as it is this day. Secondly, Psalm 112:13. Wealth and riches are in their houses, and their righteousness endures forever. Are you detecting a theme yet? Romans 13 and 8. Let no debt remain outstanding. Most people don't know this in the Bible. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another, for whosoever loves the others has fulfilled the law. Debt should not be outstanding. The only outstanding debt we have is the debt to love one another, but not credit card debt, not student loan debt, not mortgage debt. Okay? Now, question is life about the pursuit of accumulation of money? I'm going to wait for you all to mull that over. And hopefully your resounding answer is no. It's about God, family, and people. The Bible speaks quite a bit about money. It speaks about how we handle money. Is it wrong to be wealthy? Absolutely not. Does God want you to be wealthy? Absolutely. So he can establish his covenant that he made to you and your family. There, you can't have the establishment of covenant of those promises with no wealth. It just doesn't drop out of the sky. You have to have a wealth paradigm, and the Bible speaks to that. So he says, I give you the ability to get wealth. Where does the ability to be wealthy come from? It's not just our ingenuity, it's not just our giftedness, it's a gift from God that he gives his people to be wealthy. Why? To produce it and establish covenant. Secondly, wealth is in our houses. That's a promise from God. So when we handle our finances in a very responsible way, when we are informed with what the market is doing and we accompany that with what God is saying concerning our finances, he says a promise is wealth and riches are in their houses and their righteousness will last and endure forever. Lastly, he tells us to eliminate debt. I looked at the word mortgage and I looked at the word mortuary. Do you understand that they both have the same root, that MORT? And it means death. Mull that over for a minute. Your mortgage is financial death. And the same word that Webster uses, the same root rather, that Webster uses to define the word mortuary is the same root that's in the word mortgage. All of it is death. So the Bible gives us a strategy to eliminate death. God tells us that he wants us to have life and that more abundantly. Never did God say that he wanted our life to be filled with death. The only thing that dies in us is sin and unrighteousness. That's a whole nother topic. I'll stay on task. So when he tells us to eliminate debt, what he's telling us is that I want you to have an abundant life and I don't want this yoke around your neck because debt chokes the life out of you. If you really want to die early, stress about debt. Okay? So the Bible tells us eliminate debt and then we'll have fulfilled lives and we'll fulfill the law. Now, can you help God, family, or people if you don't have money? Prayer will only go so far. Now, some people may say, how dare you? But let's just think about it. We live in a tangible world. If you don't have money, you can't bless your family, you can't bless God, and you certainly can't be of any benefit to people if you have no money. You need money. Okay, let's establish that. Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. A feast is made for laughter, wine makes life happy, and money answers everything. Now, if you think God doesn't have an opinion about money, you're wrong. I'm going to sip some tea on that. He tells us feasting is made for laughter. Wine makes life real good. But if you really want to answer a question, a dilemma, a calamity, an opportunity, a choice, you need money. Okay? Now, I want to dispel this myth. Money is neither good or the erroneous thinking that money is evil. Money is neither good nor evil. Money is a tool. I'll repeat that. Money is neither good nor evil. It is simply a tool in the hands of the person who have it. And there's this old adage that says money just makes you more of who you already are. So if you're corrupt, money will just make you more corrupt. But if you're sensible, if you are giving, if you're loving, if you're strategic, if you're prudent, if you're smart, money just enhances who you already are. So money is neither good nor evil. It's simply a tool. Here's where I want to bust this bubble. Well-meaning but ignorant people misquoted 1 Timothy 6 and 10. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is benign. It's absolutely benign. Okay? The love of money is the root of all evil. And some people who were eager for money and other gain have kind of messed up the ideology a lot of people have about money. Money isn't bad. It's the love of money. We love God, we love people, we love our families. We don't love money. We use money. Understand the difference? So the love of money is the root of all evil. But money itself is not evil. It is benign. It's only what it is in the hands of the user. Now, I hope this brings some clarity and some understanding because we can see where people who have meant well chose a life of poverty because they wanted moral character. You can be morally good and wealthy. Morally good and wealthy. So you don't have to choose a life of poverty or lack trying to be morally good. You just do that. You're morally good, but use money for good. Okay? Enough on that. Let's move on to the next thing. We must develop a healthy, balanced approach to money and how we must, let me go back. Developing a healthy, balanced approach and knowing the purpose of money helps eliminate both extremes. What both extremes am I talking about? Either you just consume with money and you're greedy and you don't really acknowledge the purpose of money, which is God, family, and people, or you say, no, I want to be a good person, so I won't pursue wealth at all. I'll just relegate my life to a life of poverty because I want to be morally good. Once you know the purpose of money, it eliminates both of those extremes. It does you no good to just pursue money alone and forget God, family, and people. And you certainly can't be of any help to God, family, and people if you have no money. So we must have a well balanced approach to the pursuit of wealth. Wealth is a tool, and that's all. Okay? Now, second, do the work assignment. Define wealth and what it means to you and your family. Now, when I was thinking about wealth, here's what I thought. For some, wealth means the elimination of stress and blood pressure medication. A lot of folks are sick internally, physically ill, because they do not understand the purpose of money or the lack thereof. They have the lack of money. Secondly, for some, wealth means husbands and wives can stop arguing and get back to loving each other. Most divorces, 75, and I think the author gives this quote as well, 75% of most divorces that happen today, according to the Lawyers Association, the Bar Association, is behind money, not infidelity, not spousal abuse, not neglect. It's behind debt and money. So, wealth for some family may mean that they'll have the opportunity to last 50 years together and have a happy, long, fulfilling relationship rather than break up after 5 years because they didn't eliminate credit card debt. Something to think about. Next, wealth could mean that children and parents reestablish their relationships because parents have the flexibility to be home instead of working all the time. We have now raised a generation of children who are now raising themselves because parents are pursuing jobs and they're working all the time, and we have skyrocketed in debt. And so now we're working on jobs 40, 50, 60 hours a week to eliminate credit card debt just to stay above water. And we have not had the opportunity to have fulfilling, loving, engaging relationships with our children. So we can't fault the children for the decisions they make because the parents were not at home to help guide them. How do we do that? We delay gratification, we eliminate debt, and we get everybody on board with a balanced, healthy wealth mentality. Next, for a divorced mother, it means wealth means no more arguments or pleading with a former spouse to actively and consistently provide for children. It means a life of no more drama. I'm going to sip some tea on that. Just a minute, please. A little bit more. And I won't even tell you how I know about that. Now, let's go on to the next thing. Define wealth and ask your family members to participate in the exercise. Ask your children, what does wealth mean to them? And we're not talking about video games. We're not talking about tennis shoes. We're not talking about wasteful spending. What does wealth mean? And if your children or if your spouse has a skewed paradigm, now is a good time to have a conversation about the purpose of money and why our family should pursue it and why our family needs it to establish covenant. Okay? Now, um, here is what wealth is not. We want to talk a little bit about this. Wealth is not extravagance. Okay, contrary to what you may see in television and media, it's not wearing red bottom shoes. I was watching, and forgive me for this, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I won't call the lady's name, but a lady said she was going camping and she had red bottom shoes on in dirt. Now, how much sense does that make? Really? Here's my point. Wealth is not extravagance. It's just not that. Wealth is the accumulation of resources for specific reasons. It's not just so that you can spend wastefully, okay? The reason why we accumulate wealth is one, so that again, we can provide a life and a standard of living for our family, that we can provide legacy. We have more time to share our values if we're not always working for money. We have more time to volunteer and do good in society and have a renaissance, if you will, with how we deal with our neighbors and how we engage each other socially. We don't have the opportunity to do that now because so many of us are in the rat race, constantly on that wheel, trying to make a dollar to eliminate credit card debt, student loan debt, paying mortgages that really are just crazy outside the wazoo. Reevaluate all of that. Wealth is not extravagance, it is the accumulation of resources and goods for specific reasons. Now, page 19, here's a quote. The most substantial people are most frugal